And that's the ones that you can work. That's the ones that can pick up trash, the work release programs. But guess what? Those are the ones that they're releasing. They're releasing some good ones that we use every day to wash cars, to change oil in our cars, to cook in the kitchen, to do all that where we save money. Well, they're going to let them out.
God, Shalom. First off, I want to start off by saying all praises, honor, and glory is due unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. That's all praises to the world called God, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh. Ba'ashem meaning in the name, Yahushai being the name of the only begotten Son. Also want to say double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the hopeful elect, preaching His word in truth and sincerity on the brother Tazabah, the Great Millstone, Arizona camp. Lord will, with another video to edify, and that is a snippet of what the sheriff for Louisiana said, because they were going to start releasing non-violent criminals, right? And Louisiana has the highest incarceration rate in the United States, and they're disproportionately majority Jake, right? So-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. That's all that's in there, and it's a lot of them so-called Negroes in the South are really Gad. A lot of them, and Reuben, and Judah too. They down there, but you hear them. They don't want to let you go because they use you as free labor. Now, there's an article it just came out. I was looking at. This is 13 hours ago. It was put up. It says modern day form of slavery. Lawsuit alleges Alabama denies parole to use prisoners for forced labor, and this is all they ever did. It's just another form of slavery. It's just legal slavery. It says a group of current and former black prisoners have filed a class action suit against Alabama leaders and major companies whom they accuse of denying parole on the premises of forced labor. 10 former and current inmates within the Alabama Department of Corrections have named Governor Kay Ivey, the state attorney general, the prison's commissioner, parole board leaders, cities and companies who they claim rely on forced labor. Some of the companies that were named included KFC, McDonald's, Wendy's franchises, Hyundai supplier Ju Young, and beer distributor Bama Budweiser of Montgomery. All defendants are accused of human trafficking, racketeering, and violating the Ku Klux Klan Act, targeting conspiracies that strip people of their constitutional rights. The argument is that the government officials collaborated with these companies to keep black people behind bars and available for cheap labor. And that's exactly what they do. That's exactly what they do. Is what's written in the scriptures that they would do. The scriptures talk about we will be ruled over with much wicked oppression. This is what we got here. You talking about keeping somebody in jail for a second or third attempt because they stole something for 20 years. So now he's in jail 20 years and you still don't want to give him parole, and you find a way not to because you're making money off this. It is, like they said, what they alleged it was human trafficking, racketeering, and violating the Ku Klux Klan Act. This is Esau's MO. Now, when you go to the scriptures, they speak of these things, man. This is Jeremiah 50:33. It says, "Thus say Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were pressed together." And the children of Israel is talking about the northern kingdom, right? The northern kingdom, the so-called Latinos, Native Americans, right? Those 10 tribes. So the children of Israel and the children of Judah, Judah going into Judah, Benjamin, Levi, which is so-called Negroes, so-called Haitians, and so-called West Indians, which are the so-called Jamaicans, right? They were oppressed together. We got messed up at the same time, man. Issachar, really, when you go into the history, Issachar really got his lick first. The Lord hit Issachar first. Not Issachar, but the northern kingdom first, which consists of Issachar, Naphtali, Reuben, Gad, Zebulon, Manasseh, right? The Lord messed them up first, because when the Spanish Inquisition came over to the Americas, right? Those were the first tribes that got messed up. That's where you get movies like Apocalypto from, when them Spaniards were coming over here. And now you got Issacharites fucking proud that they light-skinned and they could be considered a fucking Spaniard. It says, and all that took them captive held them fast. They refused to let them go. And this is nothing more than what the scriptures talk about. Everybody that took us captives refused to let us go. And these are all them southern states, man, they keeping that shit alive, man. That movie, you have that movie, Life, with Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy in it. They show you those forced labor camps, how they were digging the ditches, setting up the railroads. Then they sat there and gave Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy basically a house nigga job for the mayor or the judge of the fucking of the city, where they have to drive them around, do they cleaning, do all that shit for them, and get treated like next to nothing, knowing damn well that they didn't commit those crimes. We're in the hand of a lawless, like the scriptures say. Let me get this. This is the prayer of Azariah 1:9. It says, and thou didst deliver us into the hand of lawless enemies. The Lord did that. The Lord delivers into the hand of this fucking devil, man. And this is why, here it is. The soul, man, Issachar, the northern kingdom, man, when you really get down to it, I mean, on this side, without the Lord, it's so much fucking simplicity and bullshit that the northern kingdom does. But man, just in general, work ethic, ingenuity, right? Pride in what they put their hands to. They got physical strength, endurance. I mean, just looking at on paper, observation. The Northern Kingdom, the so-called Latinos, Native Americans, they should be able to fucking take over this devil. And looking at Judah, I'm talking about you're talking about Judah can go into the hardest fields. They're highly intelligent. They're able to sit here and function at a high level, higher than Esau, because the jobs that Esau is letting the so-called Negroes, the tribes in general, get into now, right? They're putting so much workload on them now that Esau never had to do before. And Jake is thriving, right? So in general, on paper, just looking at us, physical strength, we should be able to put these devils down. But the Lord gave us into their hands. It says, and thou didst give us into the hands of lawless enemies, most hateful forsakers of the Most High, and to an unjust king, and the most wicked in all the world. Right? For you to sit here and be like, you know what, this guy, they know what those prisons do. They ran experiments. There's a famous experiment. Let me find. Yeah, here it is. It says Stanford Prison Experiment, a social psychological study in which college students became prisoners or guards. in a simulated prison environment. The experiment, funded by the U.S. Office of Naval Research, took place in Stanford. Now, I want to read. Here it is. I'll get it on Wikipedia. Yeah, it says it was 2 weeks. It was a 2 week simulation of a prison environment that examined the effects of situational variables on participants' reactions and behaviors. Stanford University psychology professor Phil Zimbardo led the research team who administered the study. Now, local community, 15 prison life, prisoners virtual. Okay, here it is. Let me read from here. It says volunteers were chosen. Where we at? Volunteers were chosen after assessment of psychological stability and then randomly assigned to being prisoners or prison guards. Critics have questioned the validity of these methods. Those volunteers selected to be guards were given uniforms specifically to de-individuate what the hell? De-individuate them, and they were instructed to prevent prisoners from escaping. The experiment officially started when the prisoners were arrested by Palo Alto police over the following 5 days. Psychological abuse of the prisoners by the guards became increasingly brutal after psychologist Christina Maslach visited to evaluate the conditions. She was upset to see how the study participants were behaving, and she confronted Zimbardo. He ended the experiment on the 6th day. In 6 days, they saw how brutal that shit is. So these Edomites that have these Jake locked in these fucking prisons, knowing damn well that they don't deserve to be there, they paid their dues, and they still keep them there. They know what the fuck they doing, and they don't care. They know the environment that they're keeping these people in. They don't care. The Lord gave us into the hands of the most wicked, into the hand of the most wicked of all the world, man. Right? This is what you gotta understand. This ain't no fucking child's play we dealing with. We dealing with the wicked of the earth. This is Isaiah 14. In 17, it says, I started 12. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground that didst weaken the nations? Now, the word Lucifer just means light bearer, right? And who weakened the earth? Who weakened the nations? Esau, Edom. Through their military power, bombing all these nations, they were able to sit here and get the world's reserve currency, cut people's bank accounts off. So nations just folded under their hands, right? Who holds the light in this world now? Esau. He's the light bearer on this earth right now. It says, thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. And that the stars of the Lord, the scriptures tell you that Israel was going to be as the stars of heaven. So him exalting his throne above the stars of the Most High is him exalting himself above the Israelites, the Lord's chosen people. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And he puts himself up in that God complex mindset. Esau has a God complex, man. The so-called white man, he rules in a God complex. He's a child playing God. This is why all the wickedness that happens in the world, look at it. Here it is, you're telling people that they can have make-believe genders. So now everybody thinks there's fucking 10 million genders. You can be whatever you want. That's a child's game. You could be whatever you want. That's a child's fucking game. And let you disrespect that, you can run the risk of being fired from your job. You could, in some places, you run the risk of being thrown into prison, being fined. That's a fucking child's game. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. The Lord's going to sit here and bring his judgment against you devils. It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, meaning those that look at you, when the Lord brings you down, they're going to look at you like, this nigga, he had the rule of the earth. The Lord's going to make it that way. Because right now, when people look at the so-called white man, they're like, hey, that's that nigga. He owns everything. They have all the wealth in the world. They plaster themselves on every TV show. They're shown in the best light in every situation. Let an Edomite do a mass shooting. They're going to sit here and start looking into his childhood, seeing where it went wrong for him and showing him mercy and not even calling him what he is. They'll dumb down the title and he should be called a terrorist at that point, but they'll say, oh, it was a lone shooter. But let Jake do something like that. Oh, he's a terrorist. They need to throw him under the prison. There's no investigation. They ain't showing no fucking childhood pictures of him to soften the blow that this man did this heinous act. Nah, they just, man, this. It says, verse 16, it says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake the kingdoms? Right? This devil was able to go into every nation, bombing the hell out of everyone. So when the Lord brings him down, everybody's going to look like this nigga really had to rule over everything. Because the Lord's going to take everything from him. His power, his status is acclaimed, and the Israelites are going to come up. It says, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. You see, he destroyed the earth, threw us in jail, and he refused to open the house of the prisoners. Man, even Jake that's out here now, that's not in an actual prison system, Esau got you in such a state, and a state of mind that without the Lord, you never get out. You never get out of that mindset, man. This is Isaiah 42. It says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. Talking about the Israelites. They are all of them snared in holes. They are hid in prison houses. You see? Here it is. Put it this way. If they say Jake is like 8 to 10% of the U.S. population, at the same time, Jake is over 90% of all prisoners in jail. So how many Jake are actually in them prisons? How many Judah? How many so-called Latinos? How many so-called Native Americans are in the prisons? You see? Jake is snared in holes. They're put in traps, all type of things, in hidden prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. You see? Nobody's coming to those people's rescue. They're sitting there. You're talking about prisoners, or former prisoners, and prisoners are the ones that put that lawsuit in. Former prisoners and prisoners. You think they're going to win that lawsuit? Hell no, they ain't going to win. And if they do win the lawsuit, ain't nothing gonna change still. Among whom will you give ear to this? Among you will, among you. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? You see? We're in the worst predicament ever, and it ain't getting no better. It ain't getting no better, man. So, this is what it is, man. This is what it is. These are the breaks. But Esau, your ass is going to go into slavery for this, man. Shalom.